Heads up. Leo Messi is officially locked in to start in match day 2 of the 2026 Leagues Cup. Following that masterclass Leo put on against Atletico San Luis, Miami is about to collide with a much more dangerous opponent. Yes, we are talking about Rayados de Monterrey, who boast one of the absolute strongest rosters in Mexican soccer, packed with world-class individuals who can change a game in a single second. We are going to break down every single matchup. And let us not forget that this is the exact same powerhouse that previously knocked Inter Miami, with Messi on the pitch, right out of the CONCACAF Champions Cup a few years back. So get ready, because we are breaking down every angle of this massive upcoming showdown. We have opponent analysis and predicted lineups. We will also look at the confirmed absences for Inter Miami, because their roster is still missing several key pieces, especially on the attacking side. Honestly, we have got every single angle covered for this huge game. So let us get right into it. We are starting with the big news. Leo Messi is officially returning to the pitch. Barely 72 hours after that exhausting battle against Atletico San Luis, Messi and the rest of the Inter Miami squad are stepping right back onto the pitch for match day 2 of this 2026 Leagues Cup journey. We all saw it. They kicked off the tournament with a crucial victory against San Luis, and now they are preparing to clash with none other than Rayados de Monterrey. That is right. We are talking about the former club of German Berterame. Take a look. This is Monterrey, a team we have discussed quite a bit. When you look at sheer roster depth, this club has consistently been one of the absolute strongest powerhouses in Mexican soccer for years now, and we need to pay very close attention to how they set up. In their last outing against Atletico San Luis, Miami absolutely had to walk away with 3 points, since San Luis is generally considered a lower to mid-table team back in Mexico. But now, things get much more dangerous. Monterrey possesses elite individual talent, and even if they are not playing their absolute best brand of collective soccer right now, they remain an incredibly tough team to beat. So you definitely want to keep your eyes peeled for this matchup. We are looking at all the specifics. Remember, the Leagues Cup is taking center stage right now, which has temporarily paused the regular MLS season. And as we head directly into match day number 2, we also have some very important details to confirm regarding the squad. Specifically, we can confirm that Leo Messi trained today with absolutely no restrictions. I wanted to bring this up because so many of you were commenting that he looked uncomfortable at the end of the San Luis match, especially right after the players returned from that lengthy rain delay. Some of you noticed him reaching for his hamstring and immediately feared the worst, that he was injured. But let me tell you, that is simply not the case. He was just massaging the muscle to keep it loose. Think about it. They were mid-game, then suddenly everything stops for 30 minutes. You have to stretch and massage the legs. You stretch, you massage, and you keep moving. In fact, we have the footage showing Messi arriving at the Miami training ground today looking perfectly fine, right alongside Casemiro. We also saw German Berterame back in action, and he is definitely going to play, though we are not sure if he will start. And we also saw Rodrigo de Paul on the pitch, who will absolutely be available, alongside several other key players who reported for duty today. We can see right here in these training photos, Odes, that Messi was working hard and keep pulse with everyone else. Look, we cannot immediately panic and assume he is injured every single time he touches his leg. I know there are plenty of critics out there who secretly want him to get hurt just because they cannot stand watching him continue to dominate, but I am sharing this for the real supporters who were genuinely worried about him. Rest assured, Messi is completely fine and had absolutely nothing wrong with him. He actually looked incredible out there. If the overall level of play dropped off in the second half, it was simply because Miami chose to play conservatively and stopped pushing forward. It was not a fitness issue. Messi was not hurt. We all know he would have subbed himself off the second he felt a tweak, just like we saw him do in the lead-up to the World Cup. Do you remember that intense game against Philadelphia? Even though he was furious about leaving the pitch, he had to protect himself because pushing through the pain could have caused a massive injury right before the tournament started. Messi knows exactly how to listen to his own body. Here he is training perfectly, and we are seeing other key pieces rejoin the squad. Take a look at the footage. German Berterame is back on the pitch, fully participating alongside his teammates. It looks like the medical staff was just being extra cautious after that heavy collision he suffered up in Canada. If you remember that incident. That knock kept him sidelined for 2 entire matches, but now he is finally back. It was mostly a safety protocol, and there is a chance German Bertaremi could even start. In my opinion, I do not think they will start him immediately, but the option is on the table. Casemiro is also looking sharp, but remember that Luis Suarez is officially ruled out of this entire tournament, which is a massive blow for the offense. Meanwhile, Caicedo has put in some really strong performances since making his debut. But most importantly, Leo Messi is at 100% and fully cleared to dominate this match. We have some more crucial updates coming directly out of the Inter Miami camp. They have already confirmed that German Bertarami is ready, and he is definitely going to get minutes. That news is officially set in stone. And do not forget, friends, Miami gets to play in front of their home crowd once again, hosting this battle at the brand new stadium. Right here we have the new stadium. We already know Inter Miami will play these 3 matches here, and I am pretty sure they stay put until the final, unless they face the Mexican champion. I do not fully recall the tournament format, but Miami gets to play their entire group stage at home. Why? To help Messi? They got this privilege by being league champions. So this upcoming match against Monterrey will also be played at home. Because of that, we really need to look at how the standings are shaping up. Match day 1 is done. My beloved Pumas are taking the field, with games scheduled for both Saturday and Sunday. But with the very first round of matches wrapped up, this is how the Leagues Cup 2026 table looks. Remember, out of the 18 total teams competing from both Major League Soccer and Liga MX, only 4 will advance to the single elimination bracket starting with the quarterfinals. As of right now, the top 4 spots belong to these specific clubs right here. On the American side, the Portland Timbers are sitting in first place. They absolutely dominated Puebla with a blowout win, so keep a close eye on them. They already have a +3 goal differential. Right behind them is Charlotte, the team that just crushed Pumas by a score of 3-0. Charlotte is second, Miami is third. Every club here has a win. That means they all have 3 points, but they are separated strictly by goals scored and goals conceded. Right now, Miami is sitting on a +2 goal differential, since their match ended in a wild 4-2 victory. Columbus is in the exact same boat, +2 differential. Over on the Mexican side, Toluca leads with a +3 differential, followed by Club America at +2, while both Juarez and Atlante sit at +1. These standings are obviously going to shift, but this early snapshot gives us a pretty good idea of how things are shaking out. Keep the tournament format in mind. I am displaying this so you can visualize how the final standings will look after all 3 match days wrap up. Under this format, the top seed from Major League Soccer, which is currently Portland, would square off against the 4th place team from Mexico, which is Atlante. Meanwhile, the top Mexican team, Toluca, would take on Columbus, which means Inter Miami would match up against Club America. Man, what a massive game. It is a crossed bracket. Montreal faces Juarez, but things will change. We will see. I doubt every top team finishes with 9 points. Because of that, we will almost certainly see ties in the standings, meaning things will be decided entirely by goal differential. You absolutely have to keep an eye on that. Scoring goals and keeping clean sheets will be absolutely key to surviving this Leagues Cup 2026 bracket. Let us look at the rival. We are talking about Rayados de Monterrey. And on the screen right now, you can see one of their most recent starting 11s. This lineup was drawn up by their new manager, Matias Almeida, who was a legendary multi-time champion with Chivas in Mexican soccer just a few years ago. He won the Continental Cup, the Domestic Cup, and the league title before heading over to Europe. That stint did not go well, but now he is back in Mexico, managing Monterrey. And honestly, he has an incredibly deep roster to work with. This squad is packed with top-tier individual talent that we need to break down. This match feels like a massive revenge opportunity if you look back at recent history. Think back to what went down in the 2023 Champions Cup. Remember that incredibly tense second leg that was ultimately decided right on Monterrey's home turf? On the pitch, Messi was respected. Outside, total chaos. The Monterrey home crowd made sure their hostile presence was felt, and the whole evening ended up spiraling into a pretty chaotic, unfortunate situation. Remember Sender making mistakes or Jordi Alba getting sent off? In the end, Inter Miami was sent packing while Monterrey advanced. Even though Columbus ended up eliminating Monterrey later on, the sting of that defeat remained. Perfect setup for revenge. Monterrey still has a handful of players from that exact roster, even though both squads have gone through some major changes since then. So let us really dig into our opponent. I want us to take a close look at Monterrey's full roster. I was trying to pull up their page on Transfermarkt, but the website seems to be down. Let me try refreshing it, but I doubt it will load. Instead, let us use football transfers to see their value. We are looking at millions of euros here. When you compare the estimated value of Monterrey's roster to Inter Miami, the Mexican side is actually more expensive, and they do not even have Messi, Casemiro, or De Paul. But as I have pointed out before, the heavyweight clubs in Mexican soccer consistently build much better squad depth than most teams in MLS. That is down to MLS financial rules. While Major League Soccer can attract massive star players, the rest of their rosters often drop off. You get a couple of world-class players surrounded by average talent. To put it bluntly, they are pretty average players without much real pedigree. They do not have big-name stars, unlike Mexican clubs where owners can spend completely without limits, especially when it comes to massive salaries, which changes everything. This actually proves that while having Lionel Messi on your team makes a massive difference, obviously, it is not everything. Of course, he is the greatest of all time, but I am talking about overall squad depth here. If you take Messi completely out of this Miami lineup, for instance, what happens? Once you strip away those few superstars, Monterrey actually has a much stronger squad on paper. So keep a very close eye on that. Right here, their starting goalkeeper is Luis Cardenas. He is a Mexican keeper who is pretty average, honestly nothing crazy. But they also have Arteaga and some seriously talented players on this roster. Salcedo also spent years playing in Europe and represented Mexico on the World Cup stage. Now Sergio Ramos is no longer officially registered here, but remember, this was once famously known as his team. It is a real shame he will not be facing off against Messi, Luis Suarez, or even Casemiro this time. Sadly, Ramos is gone. Instead, they have Stefan Medina, Victor Guzman, and Diego Rossi. You remember Rossi from his days with the Columbus Crew, right? He was one of their franchise players and had an absolutely incredible season. Monterrey ended up buying him during this transfer window, and he came in to be an immediate starter. The Uruguayan is joined by Eric Aguirre. Then we have Oliver Torres on the roster. You might remember him from his days playing over in Spain for Sevilla. He was a highly rated young Spanish midfielder who left European football to join Monterrey. Here he is right now. Orbelí Pineda also played in Europe and has been part of multiple World Cup cycles for the Mexican national team. And Hugo Cypers, the lethal goal scorer who was going head-to-head with Messi for the Golden Boot in this Major League Soccer campaign. He used to play for Chicago, but Monterrey just went ahead and bought him. They secured his signature. He made his official debut the other day and even scored, though Monterrey ultimately fell to Orlando City in that match. But now Cypers is officially here, a dangerous Belgian striker who even has experience playing on the World Cup stage. Then we have De La Rosa and Lucas Ocampos, a player who needs no introduction. You probably remember him playing for the Argentine national team. He was actually one of the very first players chosen under Scaloni's system. So definitely watch out for Ocampos because he is a serious threat. There is also Orellano and Tecatito Corona, who spent a massive chunk of his career in Europe. Another top-tier attacker. Seriously, guys, look at this roster, because they have an incredibly deep and dangerous squad. To be fair, they still have not clicked as a cohesive unit, which is a very important detail to point out. Almeida is only just beginning to figure out his tactical system and get this group playing together as a team. But personally, Matias Almeida is a manager I have always had a lot of respect for. Like I said, he had Chivas playing beautiful football, though he did struggle a bit in MLS afterwards. He went to Greece, then Sevilla, and now he is back in Mexico with Monterrey. He has only managed a few matches so far, and right now Monterrey is sitting in ninth place. Okay, I see. Wait, they are ninth in the League's Cup because they lost, so keep that in mind, but in the Domestic Apertura tournament, they sit in fifth place with 6 total points. They actually ended up losing their last match to Orlando. Antoine Griezmann scored against them, but it was a very tight and competitive match. If you look at the final stats, Monterrey actually created far more chances, but they completely lacked clinical finishing. That is a major concern. They had a penalty call and a goal chalked off by VR, which hurt them. Recently, they beat Atlas but fell to Necaxa, which was unexpected. Necaxa is usually a mid-table side or worse, but they managed to snatch the victory right out of Monterrey hands. It happened in the final minutes. That is just how it went down. Monterrey also had a player red-carded, so that loss to Necaxa makes a bit more sense. They did beat Santos and played a few friendlies before that, but there is not much else to analyze with this rebuilding project. Some key players left and new ones arrived. Even with the roster changes, they still have an incredibly talented squad. This is going to be an extremely tough test for Inter Miami. It feels like a massive revenge match after Miami got knocked out of the CONCACAF Champions Cup back in 2023. Now it is time to look at the starting lineup that manager Guillermo Hoyos needs to put on the field. Remember, he is still firmly in charge of this squad, which is something we have discussed quite a bit recently. The defense is admittedly still pretty shaky, but at least their attack has looked a lot sharper than it did under Mascherano's. That is definitely something worth highlighting. On top of that, we have official confirmation that Mateo Silvetti has been ruled out. He is completely sidelined for this match, and likely for quite a few more games after this. So, remember how he had to leave during that last match against San Luis because of his shoulder? They said it was actually dislocated, right? Well, the official update from Miami is finally out, and we have it right here. Silvetti has undergone several more medical examinations over the last few hours, and they officially confirm he dislocated his left shoulder during that high-stakes Leagues Cup match. The player is now starting a period of complete rest, and will remain under close supervision by the Miami medical team. Based on his physical recovery, he will gradually return to training. Honestly, we already knew that, man. Seriously, I do not understand why it is so incredibly difficult for them to just give us a simple timeline, like 2 to 4 weeks, or maybe 1 to 3. They just refuse to say it, guys. Either way, it is totally confirmed he will not be playing in this match. So keep a close eye on this situation because it is a massive blow. They already do not have Suarez, and now losing Silvetti really guts their attacking options, even if Verterami is finally back. And even though Verterami is returning, my friends, I think Guillermo Hoyos is going to field the exact same lineup we saw against San Luis, which is the one you see right here on your screen featuring Alen, Mikhail, Caicedo, and Mura, holding down the defensive line with either Mura or Frey. Personally, I would actually start Frey because he is simply the stronger option on the field. It seems like Rocco is going to stay in goal, but we will have to wait and see about that. They could easily start Sancier, but I do not think he is going to swap keepers from one match to the next. Then we have a double pivot with Bright and Casemiro. We know Casemiro plays a much more holding role, while Bright stays free to press high up the pitch. This perfectly fits the style of Guillermo Hoyos, which is all about pressing hard, winning the ball, and launching rapid attacks. So there we have it. DePaul and Segovia as the interior midfielders, with Pinter playing a bit more freely in that advanced role. He will likely stick close to the left wing, leaving Lionel Messi as the number 10 to create plays and get into the box to score, just like he did in the match against San Luis. I am convinced this is how they will line up. Now, I understand that Verterame could potentially push to start, especially since he is not coming back from a muscle tear. They were simply being cautious with him. He was just under observation and does not have any serious upper body injuries. It was really just a hard knock. So yes, Verterame is definitely fit to play and I think he can handle it. But I also think Guillermo Hoyos will stick with the same team to avoid any unnecessary risks, keeping Verterame as a reliable option on the bench if things get tough. That is the projected lineup, everyone. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. The most important thing here is that Lionel Messi is back in action, we get to see him play, and of course we will be covering everything right here, live. But I do want to give you all a quick heads up. Our live stream is going to start a bit later than usual. You can see the schedule right here on screen, so you do not miss it, because keep in mind that this kickoff is pushed back. Yes, the game itself is going to take place a bit later. We will only be starting 30 minutes before kickoff because it is actually my mom's birthday. My dear mother is celebrating today. So I will be there for the celebration, but I will sneak away early to jump on the live stream, which is why I cannot start as early as I usually do. I just want to make sure I do not miss out on family time just this once, though I did hesitate at first. I was actually debating whether to stream at all, but so many of you kept asking for it. I know this is a massive matchup with so much riding on the outcome. Even though Monterrey suffered that tough loss against Orlando, I am convinced they are still coming to dominate Miami and will field their absolute strongest starting 11, so keep a close eye on that. This is going to be a massive test for Miami. So get ready, everyone. We will be going live tomorrow to cover it. We will launch the stream about 30 minutes before kickoff, but you know how we usually set up the screen beforehand anyway. So I will see you there as we all tune in. Please show some love by hitting that like button, and let's get ready. I will see you tomorrow for the big match, and we will sign off as soon as the final whistle blows. Let us just hope the game does not get delayed because of rain, my friends, but if there are any issues, I will let you know and start the stream a bit later. But anyway, there is not much else to say. Thanks, sending you all my best, and let me know your thoughts down below. The great news is that Lionel Messi is back to 100%, physically sharp, and completely ready to start. And we are in for a thrilling matchup against one of the absolute best squads in Mexican soccer. There is really not much else to say. And finally, guys, do not forget to check out camisetaspobal.mx for top quality gear at the best possible prices, with free worldwide shipping and special promo codes for up to 12 or 15% off, guys.